Pat, there's a stat out there that might be surprising to some people. I may be messing this up by some kind of nuance, but basically that every Ohio State starting tight end going back to sometime in the 1990s has gone to the NFL and played, been on a roster, made a roster. Every tight end, even though this is not a program that just churned out tight ends that have caught 50 or 60 balls a year that get the attention by at least the fans, not necessarily the NFL scouts, but they've had the talent coupled with the blocking ability at tight end to produce those kind of players. Well, they got one this year from Purdue and Max Clare that did catch 51 passes last year. So I'm sure he's expecting quite a bit of action there as well. And this might be the best Ohio State tight end room that we've seen in a long time as well.
It might be one of the best position rooms in general in the country this year, just with the depth and talent. I asked Keenan Bailey this spring. You've got all of these weapons that we've mentioned: running backs, wide receivers. You now bring in a wide receiver or a tight end, excuse me, who is mainly thought of as a receiving tight end. Like, how does this fit? How do you make this work? And he pointed out, look, all of those guys are going to get the attention, right? That means Max Clare is probably going to be single covered, most likely by a linebacker that's slower than him or a slot corner that's smaller than him. And he's like, this dude can eat basically all day. And I think he's probably right. Now, the blocking side of things is an area where he probably still needs to improve. Keenan Bailey sort of pushed back when I asked about that he thinks he's a more than capable blocker. I think that's just complimenting his player. But part of the reason Max Clare chose to come to Ohio State, a place that, as you mentioned, doesn't often feature the tight end in the receiving game, is because of the ability to produce, as you touched on with that NFL stat, complete tight ends. So he's got 1 year left. Can he become a better blocker to really rise up NFL draft boards and sort of make a name for himself as an all-around tight end and not just a guy who can catch passes, split out, all that stuff. I think that's the intent for Max Clare. Yeah, he wants to catch passes. Could he be, one of the top tight ends in the country? I think so. But he wants to smooth out his game and refine the parts of his game that maybe weren't happening as much. I still think he'll put up some pretty big numbers, whether it's like he was at Purdue last year when he was kind of the go-to guy. We'll see. I think that the key will be that whatever quarterback wins the job, get the ball to whoever's open. I don't think you need to focus on, hey, let's force feed Jeremiah Smith, right? If Max Clare's open, get the ball to Max Clare. And then behind him, you've got Will Kazmarek returning, a guy who probably didn't get to show his full capabilities last year, got injured in that Oregon game, I think missed 4 games. So left some stuff on the field, but certainly one of the best blockers on the roster at that position. Bennett Christian, similarly built. Jelani Thurman is kind of more in the Max Clare mold, and we haven't seen a ton of it from him. Now going into his 3rd year, has had some catches. The most memorable, I forget who it was against last year, but he kind of bobbled it. It was a 4th down play, almost caught it like 4 times, ended up getting a first down for the Buckeyes. He's a guy that I think can benefit a lot from Max Clare in the room and continuing to, again, develop the blocking side of his game, because he was essentially a big wide receiver in high school. And then you've got some young guys as well. So like I said, a really deep room. I think you can mix and match. I know Keenan Bailey is very excited. Every time we've talked to him, he's brought up the fact that all of his scholarship tight ends last year played during the college football playoff run. I've not pointed out to Keenan Bailey that some of that is because the Buckeyes got up really big in some of those games, and so they could bring in some of the backups. But also early in, I think it was the Rose Bowl, you had the Buckeyes in a short yard situation, and they had 4 tight ends on the field. And he likes to point out that Brian Hartline's talented wide receivers were all on the sidelines watching. So, yeah, it's a room that he's really excited about.